This message might seem like any other, but it's not what you think, because God is revealing something crucial about your life that you need to hear right now. There are moments when you feel a quiet whisper in your heart, a gentle nudge pushing you in a certain direction. This isn't just your imagination, it's God trying to communicate something important to you. Understanding what God is saying can help guide you through challenges and lead you to the life you are meant to live. God speaks to each of us in unique ways, using signs, feelings, and events that are deeply personal. It might be through a passage in a book that resonates with you, a conversation with a friend, or even a thought that keeps recurring in your mind. This message is meant to open your eyes to those signs and help you see the path God wants you to take. Imagine God's voice as a guiding light in a dark room, illuminating the way forward. Sometimes we get caught up in our daily lives and miss this light. But when we pause and listen, we begin to see the message clearly. This guidance is not just about immediate decisions, but also about understanding the larger picture of your life's purpose. It's about realizing that God has a plan for you, one that is filled with hope, love, and growth. By paying attention to God's message, you can align yourself with His divine purpose and experience the profound peace that comes with knowing you are on the right path. This understanding can transform the way you view your challenges and triumphs, leading you to a more fulfilling life. This isn't just about hearing God's words, but understanding the deeper meaning behind them. It's about reflecting on your own life and how these messages resonate with your current situation. You might be at a crossroads, facing decisions that will shape your future. In these moments, God's message can be the compass that directs you toward the best path. It's about trusting that God knows you better than you know yourself and wants the best for you. This message is an invitation to open your heart and mind to the possibilities that lie ahead. When you do, you will find that God's message is not just about the future, but about enriching your present and guiding you through the complexities of life. Ignoring God's message can lead to missed opportunities for growth and spiritual fulfillment. When we choose to overlook the signs and guidance He provides, we may find ourselves wandering without direction, constantly seeking but never finding true satisfaction. God's message is like a roadmap designed specifically for you, filled with routes that lead to your highest good. By ignoring this map, you risk taking paths that might seem promising at first, but ultimately lead to dead ends and detours. These detours can manifest as feelings of frustration, confusion, and emptiness, as you struggle to understand why things aren't working out as planned. The consequences of ignoring God's message can be subtle at first. You might feel a sense of unease or a nagging feeling that something is off. This is often a sign that you're moving away from God's intended path for you. Over time, this can lead to more significant challenges and struggles as you continue to pursue goals that aren't aligned with your true purpose. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. No matter how hard you try, it just doesn't work. These struggles can leave you feeling exhausted and defeated, wondering why your efforts don't seem to pay off. Ignoring God's message doesn't just impact your personal journey, it can also affect your relationships and overall well-being. When you are out of alignment with God's plan, you might find it challenging to connect with others on a deeper level or feel fulfilled in your daily life. You may experience a lack of joy and peace, as your soul longs for the harmony that comes from being in sync with God's will. This misalignment can create a ripple effect, influencing every aspect of your life and leaving you feeling lost and disconnected. Recognizing this can be a wake-up call to pause and listen for God's message, realigning yourself with the divine purpose He has for you. Choosing to ignore God's message is like walking through life with blinders on, unable to see the beauty and opportunities surrounding you. It's easy to become focused on your own desires and ambitions, pushing aside the gentle guidance that God offers. But this can lead to a cycle of dissatisfaction, where no achievement or possession seems to fill the void. This void is a reminder that true fulfillment comes from understanding and embracing God's message, allowing it to guide you to a life of purpose and joy. Understanding God's communication is about recognizing the unique ways He speaks to you and learning to discern His voice amid the noise of everyday life. God's communication isn't always a loud, booming voice or a miraculous sign. More often, it's a quiet whisper that speaks to your heart. This whisper can come in many forms, such as a feeling of peace when making a decision, a sense of urgency to act, or a deep-seated conviction that guides your actions. These are the subtle ways God communicates His will, urging you to pay attention and respond. One of the most common ways God communicates is through the people and situations in your life. A friend's advice, a stranger's kind gesture, or a challenging circumstance can all be channels through which God speaks. It's essential to remain open and receptive to these interactions, as they often hold valuable insights and lessons. By being present and attentive, you can begin to see how God uses these moments to guide you and provide clarity on your path. This requires a willingness to look beyond the surface and understand the deeper meaning behind each experience. God also communicates through your intuition and inner knowing. This inner guidance often manifests as a gut feeling or an instinctual reaction that nudges you in a particular direction. Trusting your intuition can be challenging, especially when it conflicts with logic or external expectations. However, this is where faith comes in, believing that God is guiding you through your intuition and that following it will lead you to the right path. This trust allows you to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence, knowing that you are being led by a higher power. Another way God communicates is through prayer and meditation. These practices create a space for you to connect with God and listen for His guidance. In moments of quiet reflection, you can tune out the distractions of the world and focus on the still, small voice within. This is where you can gain insight into God's message for you, finding answers to your questions and reassurance in His presence. Regular prayer and meditation can strengthen your relationship with God, making it easier to recognize His communication in your daily life. Understanding God's communication is an ongoing journey, one that requires patience and openness. As you develop your ability to hear God's voice, you'll find that His messages become clearer and more frequent. This process involves learning to trust yourself and the divine guidance you receive, allowing it to shape your decisions and actions. By doing so, you can align your life with God's will, experiencing the peace and fulfillment that comes from walking in harmony with His plan. Recognizing God's signs involves becoming aware of the subtle and sometimes surprising ways He communicates with us. These signs can appear in various forms and often come when you least expect them. They might be a series of coincidences, repetitive numbers, or a feeling that something is too significant to be random. These signs are God's way of getting your attention, encouraging you to pause and reflect on their meaning. Being open to these signs means acknowledging that God is actively involved in your life, guiding you toward His purpose. To recognize God's signs, it's essential to develop a sense of awareness and mindfulness in your daily life. This means paying attention to the details and the patterns that emerge in your experiences. Often, signs are easy to miss because we are too caught up in our routines or focused on our own plans. By taking a step back and observing the world around you with curiosity and openness, you can begin to notice the signs God is sending. These might come through nature, such as a beautiful sunrise that inspires peace or a sudden change in weather that prompts introspection. Sometimes, God's signs are delivered through other people. Someone might say something that resonates deeply with you or provides an answer to a question you've been pondering. These encounters are not mere coincidences, but rather divine messages meant to guide and support you. Being receptive to the words and actions of others can help you discern when God is speaking through them. This requires humility and the willingness to learn from every interaction, trusting that each encounter serves a purpose in your spiritual journey. Recognizing God's signs also involves understanding your emotional and physical responses to certain situations. God often speaks through your emotions, using them as signals to indicate whether you are on the right path. Feelings of peace, joy, and excitement can be signs that you are aligned with God's will, while feelings of discomfort, anxiety, or restlessness might suggest a need for change or reflection. By tuning into these emotions and seeking God's guidance through prayer, you can better understand what they are telling you about your current circumstances. Aligning with God's purpose is about understanding and embracing the unique plan He has for your life. This alignment requires a deep connection with God and a commitment to living according to His will. It's about letting go of personal ambitions and desires that may not align with God's vision for you and instead focusing on what truly matters in the grand scheme of things. This involves surrendering to God's guidance and trusting that His plan, even if not immediately clear, is ultimately for your highest good. To align with God's purpose, it is essential to spend time in prayer and meditation, seeking clarity on what God desires for you. These practices allow you to quiet your mind and open your heart to God's presence, creating space for Him to reveal His purpose. During these moments, ask God to show you the path He wants you to take and to give you the strength and courage to follow it. This intentional time with God helps you align your actions and decisions with His will, ensuring that your life reflects His purpose. Another aspect of aligning with God's purpose is recognizing and using the gifts and talents He has given you. Each of us has unique abilities and passions that are meant to be used in service to God and others. By identifying these gifts and finding ways to use them meaningfully, you can contribute to God's work in the world. This alignment brings a sense of fulfillment and joy, knowing that you are playing a role in a larger divine plan. It also helps you prioritize your time and energy, focusing on what truly matters. Living in alignment with God's purpose also involves cultivating a mindset of gratitude and contentment. It means appreciating the present moment and the blessings you have, rather than constantly striving for more. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have goals or aspirations, but rather that you should pursue them with the understanding that they should serve a greater purpose. By focusing on what you can do in the here and now to fulfill God's plan, you can experience a sense of peace and satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living in alignment with His will. Overcoming doubts and fears is a crucial step in fully embracing God's message and aligning with His purpose. Doubts and fears are natural parts of the human experience, often arising when you are faced with uncertainty or challenges. They can be stumbling blocks that prevent you from fully trusting in God's plan. However, by recognizing and addressing these doubts and fears, you can overcome them and strengthen your faith. This process involves acknowledging your feelings and bringing them to God in prayer, asking for His guidance and reassurance. One way to overcome doubts and fears is to immerse yourself in God's Word. The Scriptures are filled with promises and stories of God's faithfulness, providing comfort and encouragement in times of uncertainty. By regularly reading and meditating on these truths, you can reinforce your faith and find strength to face your challenges. These scriptures serve as reminders that God is with you, even in your darkest moments, and that His love and support are unwavering. Another powerful tool in overcoming doubts and fears is community. Surrounding yourself with a supportive network of fellow believers can provide the encouragement and perspective you need to move forward. Sharing your struggles and seeking advice from others who have walked similar paths can be incredibly reassuring. This sense of community reminds you that you are not alone in your journey and that others are there to support and uplift you. It also provides opportunities to share your own experiences and encourage others, reinforcing your faith in God's plan. It's also important to remember that overcoming doubts and fears doesn't mean eliminating them completely. Instead, it's about learning to live with them and not allowing them to control your actions or decisions. This involves cultivating a mindset of trust and surrender, acknowledging that you may not have all the answers, but trusting that God does. By focusing on the present moment and taking things one step at a time, you can gradually overcome your fears and doubts, allowing God's peace and strength to guide you through. Practicing patience and faith is essential when waiting for God's message to unfold in your life. It's natural to want immediate answers or results, but God often works on a timeline different from our own. Practicing patience means trusting in God's timing and believing that everything will happen at the right moment. This requires faith in God's wisdom and the understanding that He sees the bigger picture, even when we cannot. By cultivating patience, you allow yourself to remain open and receptive to God's guidance, rather than rushing ahead or forcing outcomes. Patience is not passive waiting, but active trust in God's process. It involves staying hopeful and positive, even when progress seems slow or non-existent. During these times, it's important to focus on what you can do in the present to align with God's will, such as deepening your relationship with Him through prayer, meditation, and study. By staying engaged and proactive, you demonstrate your faith in God's plan, showing that you trust Him to lead you to the right path in His own time. Faith is the cornerstone of patience, providing the strength and courage to endure challenging times. It's about believing in what you cannot see and trusting that God is working behind the scenes on your behalf. This faith is nurtured through regular prayer and reflection, allowing you to connect with God and seek His guidance. When you focus on building your faith, you create a foundation of trust that supports you through life's ups and downs, enabling you to navigate uncertainties with confidence and grace. Practicing patience and faith also means letting go of the need to control every aspect of your life. It's about surrendering your plans and desires to God, trusting that He knows what's best for you. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of your belief in God's love and care for you. By relinquishing control, you open yourself to the possibilities that God has in store, allowing His plan to unfold in its own time and way. Prayer plays a vital role in understanding God's will, serving as a direct line of communication with the divine. Through prayer, you can express your hopes, fears, and desires, seeking God's guidance and wisdom. It is a powerful tool for gaining clarity and insight into God's plan for your life, helping you to discern His will and make decisions that align with it. By making prayer a regular practice, you create a space for reflection and connection, allowing God to speak to your heart and guide your path. Prayer is not just about asking for things, but also about listening for God's response. It involves quieting your mind and being open to the messages that come through in moments of stillness. This listening requires patience and an open heart, as God's answers may not always come in the form or timing you expect. By remaining attentive and receptive, you can better understand God's will and how it applies to your life, allowing His guidance to shape your decisions and actions. Individual prayer, communal prayer can also provide valuable insights into God's will. Praying with others allows you to share your intentions and seek collective wisdom and support. This sense of community can deepen your understanding of God's message as you draw on the experiences and perspectives of fellow believers. Through communal prayer, you can strengthen your connection with God and with others, building a network of support and encouragement that helps you stay aligned with His will. The role of prayer in understanding God's will also involves cultivating a spirit of gratitude and thanksgiving. By focusing on the blessings in your life and expressing gratitude through prayer, you open yourself to receiving more of God's goodness. This attitude of gratitude helps you maintain a positive perspective, even in challenging times, reminding you of God's faithfulness and love. Through gratitude, you can better appreciate the ways God is working in your life, reinforcing your trust in His will and plan. Embracing God's guidance means actively seeking and following His direction in your life. It involves being open to the signs and messages He provides and making choices that align with His will. This requires a willingness to let go of your own plans and desires, trusting that God's guidance will lead you to a more fulfilling and purposeful life. By embracing God's guidance, you acknowledge that He knows what's best for you and are committed to following His lead. To embrace God's guidance, it's important to remain flexible and adaptable. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and God's plan may lead you in directions you hadn't anticipated. By staying open to change and trusting in God's wisdom, you can navigate these transitions with grace and confidence. This adaptability allows you to move forward with courage, knowing that God is with you every step of the way, guiding you toward your highest good. Embracing God's guidance also involves taking action when prompted. When you receive a message or sign from God, it's essential to respond with faith and obedience. This might mean making a difficult decision, stepping out of your comfort zone, or pursuing a new opportunity. By acting on God's guidance, you demonstrate your trust in His plan and commitment to living according to His will. This proactive approach ensures that you are not just a passive recipient of God's messages, but an active participant in His plan for your life. Finally, embracing God's guidance means continually seeking His presence and direction. It's about making God a central part of your life, turning to Him for wisdom and support in all things. By prioritizing your relationship with God and staying connected through prayer, meditation, and study, you can ensure that you remain aligned with His guidance and purpose. This ongoing connection helps you stay grounded and focused, enabling you to live a life that reflects God's love and light. God is continually speaking to us, offering guidance and insight into our lives. By recognizing His signs, aligning with His purpose, and overcoming doubts and fears, we can fully embrace His message and live a life that reflects His will. Practicing patience and faith, coupled with the power of prayer, allows us to understand and follow God's guidance, even when the path is unclear. Embracing God's guidance involves actively seeking His presence and being willing to take action when prompted. It's about living in harmony with His plan, trusting that He knows what's best for us and that His timing is perfect. Through this journey, we discover that God's message is not just about what we do, but who we become. It's about transforming our hearts and minds to align with His will, experiencing the peace and fulfillment that comes from living a life guided by His love. As we open ourselves to God's message, we find that He is always with us, offering support, encouragement, and a vision for our future. By embracing His guidance, we can navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace, knowing that we are on the right path and that God is leading us toward our highest potential.